So, what's your name?
My name is Philip John.
And do you have a First Nations name?
Well, I was given a native name to me in a ceremony a long time ago, and it's One Bull Horseman.
Okay. And what nation are you from?
I'm Cree Nation.
From what land?
From Alberta.
Alberta?
Northern Alberta.
So, my question to you today is, what did residential schools and the repercussions of that have on you and your family?
Well, the repercussions that it had on me and my family was addictions, and me growing up in and out of jail most of my life and living a life that was just, bringing me nowhere fast, downhill. Many times I just about died because of, my addictions or the life that I led. Did
you have family members that were in residential schools?
Oh yeah, I had lots of family members on, my father's side and a bit on my mother's side.
So what you think is that it brought generational dysfunction to your family in different ways?
Oh yeah, it did. It brought a generational curse, and it was passed on from one generation to the next generation, just like how our forefathers sins are passed on to one generation to the next generation.
Did it make you lose a lot of your ancestral heritage and practices?
To a certain extent, because I was so caught up in my addictions that nothing didn't matter but that, and I just didn't touch bases with any of my roots, my heritage or anything like that. Like, I know some stuff about it, but not as much as I should know. I don't even speak my own native tongue as clearly as I should, but I know some words.
So it's pretty clear that you would have went through a lot less trials and you would have went through a lot less battles in your life if residential schools never happened to your family.
I think so. I think it would have been a more healthier family lifestyle. I wouldn't grew up the way I grew up, with drinking and fighting and also with drugs. I wouldn't have been through that.
And what kind of things happen on residential schools, to your knowledge, from the teaching of your elders?
Well, from my knowledge and from what I was told, that those children, were beaten for speaking their own language. Their braids were cut. They weren't allowed to talk to their brothers or their sisters. And there is even abuse within those residential schools, from where there is sexual abuse, or where there is abuse and where they would hurt the children physically.
So there was torture going on, and basically if they did anything from their culture, they'd get beat, or
they'd get in a lot of trouble. Or even if they were to go talk, say if there's a brother and a sister in there, and if the brother would go talk to the sister, they'd get in trouble for that, from my knowledge, from what I was told.
And they were quite young children that had to go?
Yeah, very young.
Very young. And they were not allowed to go home for a long period of time either, is that correct?
For a long period of time, that is correct. They used to go get these children and take them from their parents, from my understanding.
What Christian denominations were involved in residential schools, to your knowledge?
Well, there was, the Catholic played a big part in that. There's also the United Church of Canada. There's another one, I forget what the name of that one is.
Presbyterian and Anglican.
Anglican, yeah.
So all these ones were involved in Alberta as well?
Yeah, well, they were involved in Alberta. The one that's in St. Albert, that one is Powmakers.
Powmakers, okay.
Well, they used to have powwows, they're not no more, but the residential school was on the land where they used to have the powwows, and I seen that old brick building looking like a real old run-down school.
Oh. So what's the state of the Cree Nation as a result of what happened to the residential schools?
Well, from what I see, a lot of them are in and out of jail, living on the streets, caught up in addictions and gangs, just living a dysfunctional life, having a dysfunctional lifestyle, and just they're going nowhere fast but down. And a lot of them, from what I see, in my experience, I've seen a lot of people pass on because of their addictions, and it's just, had a real big effect on them in a big way where, they didn't understand why they were the way they were. But part of that has to do with the curse that was passed down to them through the residential school.
So you've seen quite a few people die as a repercussion of what happened?
Well, yeah, I had friends that passed away.
And family members?
Oh yeah, I lost, my mother to a car accident. I lost my older sister to an overdose. I lost my younger brother to being beaten to death, and my other brother, he committed suicide. And a lot of that all their deaths play with, it has to do with their addictions.
Would you say that, so basically that's, and would you say that you were forced into Roman Catholicism as a youngster?
Well, see, when I was younger, like when I was a baby, I didn't even know this, but my parents took me to go get baptized in a Roman Catholic church called St. Alphonse Church. I had no knowledge of that, but a couple of years back, I went back there and I told them that that baptism didn't mean nothing to me because I didn't know nothing about it, and then, like, before I left, I told that lady there that I was trying to take that baptism out of there. Before I left, I told her that, well, God bless you, and she seemed pretty upset with me because I told her that has nothing to do with me, that baptism, because I didn't know nothing about it. Because she told me also, once a Catholic, you're always a Catholic, and that's not true. That's part of, a bit of their trying to make me think this way, and that's not true.
So do you think positively about the church now in retrospect, or do you think negatively about the Catholic Church?
Well, within the Catholic Church, the higher ones up, even some of the priests and nuns, they're really corrupt, and I don't have too much respect for them, to be honest, because of the things that I learned about them. And they when they pick these kids in residential schools, they're saying, well, we're God's people. Well, they can say that all they want, because that's not even his real name. His real name is Yahweh.
That's true. So, question to you is, what do you think about the situation in jails? Are they just picking up the users and the small fish, and what do you think about how that's all working? What's your position on jails?
Well,